One of my favorite bits of statistics that I found when I was doing my research was that 70% of change initiatives fail, not due to resources, due solely based on buy-in. If them folks don't believe in what you're selling them, they're not going to buy it. Whatever grand idea you have, or wherever you feel like you are leading us and innovating in the space, if them folks don't believe it, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. And when I think about transformational leadership, I think about leadership that has the ability to influence systemic change within an individual, shift mindsets, right? That's hard to do, especially for folks who've been in spaces longer than you have. But if we're going to have real transformational leadership, you have to have buy-in, and you need to be a people person. Not a people pleaser and a people person are not the same thing.
AC, God told me to start this podcast, and then he told me to call you. The time is now. You ready?
I got you, T. Let's do it.
Welcome, esteemed listeners, to another episode of the Mental Locker Room Podcast. Now, if this is your first time, I want to let you know that the Mental Locker Room Podcast is a space for former athletes turned entrepreneurs and industry leaders to inspire athletes to find identity, purpose, legacy, and mindset beyond the game. I am your boy, Dr. C, here with my illustrious co-host, Tesh Johnson. Tesh, how you doing on this wonderful, wonderful Sunday?
Blessed, man. Blessed to be here. Blessed.
Thank you.
How you feeling, C?
I'm feeling good. You know, we talked to you last week, and today is the day where I get to sit back and I get to be asked questions.
Yeah.
And I'm a certified yapper, as the kids say. So this should be a good episode.
Look, and we opposite there because I don't even like no small talk. So let's get to it. Let's get to it, baby. Yeah, like you said last week, you know, we wanted to introduce the people to me, and this week is you, so that they at least know, you know, who's going to be showing up week to week, bringing in these guests and their, you know, to speak on their expertise and everything like that, man. So, let's get into it. I'll start here. Like we talked a little bit about why, you know, we even joined together to launch the Mental Locker Room and things like that. So you told me to take it way back. let's take it back. Let's have you take it back and just tell people a little bit about your journey.
All right, so I think this journey with Tesh started way back in 2015. Fresh out of college, I was an acting major in media studies, which outside of liberal arts, I was a broadcasting person. I thought I was going to want to be in the news. Did an internship for NBC and was like, nah, I don't want to do this. this ain't fun. So fell into education, and Tesh you've always been one of them folks that has been able to bring out the best in me, reminiscent of my past football coaches. And I think this seed was planted even back then. Of, you know, two former athletes, we're in education, we're really trying to give back, but also trying to figure out what the hell are we doing? Like, what are we doing without the game? I don't know if you remember this, but I remember we first started, the school year had just started at Jones. We finally got our teams, and I remember talking to you and Chev about, I had got an email from coach in England that I had played against when I was in England. And they was on me. Hey, please come play for us. We'll get you this master's degree. And I was seriously thinking about going back. And I think that was the first time I really had to sit down with myself and go, you know, that is an amazing opportunity. Now, a lot of people get opportunity to continue playing ball at any level right after the NCAA say our time is done. Mm-hmm. But I had to let it go. And I ended up not going because something in my spirit was just like, you can still love the game. There are ways for you to be around the game, but it might be time to hang it up. And I think that was a little bit rough on my mental because I really wanted to keep playing. Now you couldn't pay me to put on those shoulder pads. Hit nobody.
Not a little bit.
No, what if whole shoulder fall off? The whole shoulder just fall off. I'm done with that
Yeah,
part. Might play some flag football, but as far as
there you
like
go.
full contact, can't do it no more. Bodies washed. But we would have our conversations about big picture. What's next? What's the legacy we want to leave behind? What do we want to build?
Yeah,
We were always on the same page, and that took us to the part. Let me fill in the parts of Tisha's story about us reconnecting that y'all may not know. So I had been, because I'm big on confirmation, right? While I may not be a big religious guy anymore, I'm still very much a spiritual guy. I believe things happen for a reason. God got the final say. All the buzzwords.
yeah,
And I had been in several spaces on my job where folks were asking, my leaders were asking me, were leaders that I had previously? Why did they stand out? Right? What did they give me as someone they were leading? And every time someone asked me that for like 3 months, all I could think about was Tish. I would bring her name up in the spaces and tell them about the conversations that we had, the way that she pushed me. The famous conversation that I tell folks of, I got core member of the month. I was on a tear. I think I was the first one. I was like, yeah, this how we do it. And I didn't get it that second month, and I'm a competitor, so I'm like, yo, why? And Tisha was just honest. You good, but you good in spurts. You got to be consistent, right? You got to stretch that greatness out weeks and months, and you keep grinding at it. And that's all. That's literally been my thing from that conversation forward. It's not about being great today or tomorrow. It's about being great today, tomorrow, and next week, and the week after, right? Can you stack
yeah,
the wins and keep it going with the consistency part? So I text Tish, like, hey, I was just checking in, man. I think I told her, like, hey, man, I've been talking about you a lot in a lot of spaces, man. How you doing? And she was just like, yo, I'm going to the NBA Cup. Got extra. You want to go? I don't even watch basketball like that. But I was like, yeah, let's link. Because something in my spirit just told me that when we sat down, it was going to be catching up, but it was going to be something else. And I didn't really know what it was. But my spirit was just telling me, let me go ahead and go see what Big Dog got going on, right, and see where I fit in. So we sitting there, courtside. Tish told me about the vision, the same vision that she told y'all about, that she received after she prayed. And I told her, whatever you trying to do, sign me up. Yesterday, sign me up. I'm ready to go. Whatever it is,
yeah,
let's go do it. No idea of how I was gonna fit in my schedule. No idea how I was gonna make the things work the way that we needed to as we're building up our brand, right? Whether it be Tesh Johnson Enterprises, where I'm the chief creative officer, or the Mental Locker Room podcast, where I'm co-host producer, right? And really pushing the machine behind our podcast. And it's one of the best decisions that I've made. I think that when I'm sitting down, whether it be interviewing my dog here or any of the many folks that she has been able to rub elbows with and learning about their journeys, it still feels like the right thing. And like I said, that seed was planted a decade ago. At this point,
yeah,
a decade ago.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is a whole nother stage, in terms of a podcast. Like this is a stage of its own. But yeah, we took the actual stage together 10 years ago as well, and did some spoken word that killed it. I mean, we were just, so once we performed it, man, they didn't stop asking us to perform it.
I kind of want
So
to charge a little bit.
yeah, never again. Hey, they was raising that money. We was helping them. But yeah, man, shout out to City Year and shout out to you, man. One for saying yes. It is you had a choice to say yes or no. But I don't know what I would have done if you would have said no. I don't know, if this thing would still be afloat, had you said no, or, had you decided to jump off. And of course, since we even started, we had to let some people go, and you were around. And I think that you get rewarded for sticking around and being loyal and those types of things. So I definitely appreciate you. And we're gonna keep building. We're gonna keep building. So listen, man. So I mean, you like me. like a lot of people that be coming on this podcast, you transition from the field, and then you jump right into education. It was almost like you knew that was, what you wanted to do, where you wanted to be. Is that something that like you always knew you wanted to be in education, and so city year was it? You knew where you were going, and you kind of you kept moving from there. Like you're still in education, you're a professor at Georgetown, all of the things. You've been with urban teachers, and man, you got a whole boatload of education, and it's not stopped. And you do talking head videos, black male educator videos. Like you are all in. So how was that transition? And is that something that you always knew you wanted to do? Go from playing football, leaving the field, and getting right into the classroom?
It was not. It was
Okay.
not. So again, my junior year, I took the summer of my senior year, I took a internship at NBC up in Green Bay, Wisconsin. If you've not been up to Green Bay, Wisconsin, there's nothing there but the football stadium. There's nothing. There's literally nothing there. There's no nightlife. There's nothing. But NBC was a good gig, and I thought I wanted to do that post graduation. So went up there, worked on the news for a little bit. And we were running a story at the time. I don't know if our listeners remember this or you remember. There was a story up in Wisconsin about these 3 young girls took their friend out to the woods, and they stabbed up real good. And we ran that story for a week straight. A week straight. No new information really, just regurgitate the same things. And I just didn't feel good in my spirit. They teach us in journalism, if it bleeds, it leads. But it's another thing when you see that in action and gotta go, I don't know if I want to do this. This don't feel good.
Yeah.
So I knew that when I finished with my bachelor's degree, I said, man, I got to go back home. For those that don't know my story, that's why you're listening to hear it. I am a Title I baby. I was on free or reduced lunch. We did not have a lot of money. Me and my brother got a week's worth of school clothes apiece.
Yeah.
And you better put some shoes on them and make it look new. Right?
Yeah.
So I knew that when I came out of college, because I had that privilege, I wanted to go back and give back. And I was looking at Teach for America, actually. I was in a production, because I was a theater major as well. I was in production in Italy. And there was some more Americans there in this festival. And I was telling them, I want to give a year back, and I wanted to be in education. Because I had just finished off working for Upward Bound at my college. That was my little side gig. I was working with high school kids. And I'm like, you know what? I don't hate high school kids. and I'm been pretty good at reading. Let me pay that forward and help folks do that. So they were like, don't do Teach for America. They were like, don't do that. Look in the city here. Now, they didn't tell me the Teach for America teachers get an actual teaching salary. And city here does not.
Yeah, you get that little stipend, baby.
That's it, right? 500 2 weeks.
Get that little stipend and, what's it called? The little, if you go back to school, they give you a little package.
Oh, yeah, the little Siegel Award, right?
Yeah, the Siegel Award. I still got a good 11, 12 grand of that Siegel Award just sitting there. I can't give it to nobody. I got my master's for free when I was coaching, so that Siegel Award is still sitting there. I done paid for some books. That's about it. I need to figure out how I can get this right check for my hard work.
or how you can transfer it over, because mine been gone. Mine was gone before I finished the master's, and I ain't even needed to pay for that, because it was paid for. I just needed the money to survive on. Because one thing that y'all gonna see from today's episode, because I've been in education, I ain't been making a lot of money. So to survive, I had to skim some off the top. Yeah, I'm gonna use this for educational funds. Educational funds is food that I can eat, so that I can read these books. So like, city year is where I found the itch for education. I was with a host teacher, great with building the relationships with the students, and I love that aspect. But I always was thinking, on top of the relationships, it's some brilliant black minds in this classroom. Can we teach them some English? Right? Can we teach them how to do why we love this thing? So I was like, hey, you know what? I can do this. Went to city, Urban Teachers now, City Teaching Alliance. Got my master's from Johns Hopkins, and I was in an apprenticeship program for teaching. And that's when everything just clicked. I took all the stuff I learned in city year about educating the whole child, my love for English and my content knowledge and the things I was learning in coursework. And I was teacher of the year at my first year teacher. I was teacher of the year. And I just stayed at it. Kind of like on the field, right? Or on the court. I'm big on my 10,000 hours, man. For my Bruce Lee fans in here. You ain't a master at nothing unless you put in 10,000 hours. So that was my goal. Was once I decided that teaching was the thing, I like, bet, let me get my 10,000 hours before I open my mouth to tell anybody how to teach, what to teach. I need to have my 10,000 hours locked in.
For sure. For sure. No, and that, I mean, look how far you have come, man. Look how far you have come just from sitting here, just barely getting by, in terms of finances, but you always showed up for those kids, and you still showing up to this day. You even took some time. I mean, you even took some of your expertise on the field, and you were coaching at Jones as well. And you love to see those types of things where you were doing way more, like you were doing the hard work. You were doing the hard work, and you're still doing the hard work, trying to make a difference. And when it comes to that, there are so many different things. Especially you're from Florida, I'm from Florida. Shout out to Avon Park.
Yo, Central Florida, baby.
It ain't St. Pete, but shout out to Florida.
It ain't St. Pete. I ain't gonna hurt it. It's way more rural, but that's home, baby. That's home.
Yeah. And so there are a lot of, things to be influenced by, especially as a young black male in Florida. And you're going through the system and Title I and all of these different things. And so you've seen it all, as a teacher, but as a student as well. How did, those things influence you when you went into the education space to try to, rename some of that stuff and do things a little bit differently, maybe from what you've seen? How did your experiences influence some of the work that you're doing now? And did you have to ever reframe who you are in order to, did you ever feel like you needed to be somebody other than who you are to fit into those spaces?
No. Change that. Don't like absolutions. One time I did, I quit. One time I did, I quit because I'm not going to do that. I am a leadership scholar, and one of the things that I really believe, the most radical thing you can do is show up as yourself. Authentic leadership is what gets the people moving. It's what motivates folks to achieve things. But I always knew, because of my background, the most powerful thing I can do for my students, because I've only taught in Title I schools, is me. I think one of the things I love doing when I would come to my class, so thinking about things that we used to do on the field, that we bring into our profession. When I was on the field, before a game, everybody knew I'm in my locker. I got my headphones on. Do not talk to me. Don't talk to me. I'm getting in that mode, right? I gotta get violent out here, and that's not my first go-to. So I gotta get my mind right. I gotta have my boosie going, right? I gotta have my webby going. It's about to get spooky. So when I was in the classroom, I would show up at 6:30. School don't open till 7:45, and I'd be in there. I'm listening to music and I'm reading. One morning, one of my students walked in, and they seen me reading the book. They were like, "Mr. C, you read?" And I was like, "Yeah, it ain't illegal no more. You can pick up a book too." And they're like, "Nah, I don't know if I want to read it. I don't know if I like reading." I'm like, black folks wrote books. We wrote some real good books. Like, here's some James Baldwin. Take this. And that showed my students that you can be multifaceted, because they would see me reading in the morning, but when we come in, because my students would come in, first off, no one goes in my classroom without me. So everybody outside of my classroom line up in the line, waiting on me. When I'm ready, then you come in here. When you come through my door, Future playing. Young Thug playing.
Yeah.
Because I'm using that as a strategy, right?
Yeah,
Teachers go,
gotta
"Hey,
connect.
don't come in here and talk." I don't do that. When you come to my classroom, if I can't hear Future, you too loud. Fix it.
There you go. There you go.
And that's really the places that I was really able to be myself, right? I got taught very prescribed ways of classroom management that just didn't feel like me. Like, I don't care about hoodies. I don't care. You got your headphones in and you don't hear me, you ain't gonna be hurt. That ain't on me. That's on you. I'm about to teach the folks that's here and that's what we gonna do. And the one time that I was in a space, I was at a Catholic school that was really into policing the black body, and I don't do that. And then I also had some coworkers at the time, because it was during the summer of 2020, for those that remember, when George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis, that really didn't want to talk about race and representation. They did. My coworkers really didn't want to talk about racism or any of the isms, and I think that for me was something that I couldn't do. Like I can play any game that is put in front of me, but when it's at the detriment of folks that look like me, I can't play those games. And again, I pick up my ball and go home. I got a lot of education, got a lot of experience. I don't have to be here. And I talk to my wife about it first, but even she knows that, you know, I'm a values aligned person. When I'm in a place that doesn't align with my values, the clock running, right? I'm here, but the clock running. And once it hit all them 4 zeros, I'm out.
For sure. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. A lot of people, a lot of places you go, they're gonna want you to get in line. They want you to get in line. They want you to play the game, and they want you to kiss the tail when it's time to. And that's just, you know, it's a time and place for that. And I ain't in that time, or I ain't got that time, and I ain't in the places, man.
What comes on say, I don't remember the Titans. I don't scratch my head unless it itches, and I don't dance unless I hear music.
Yeah. No, I definitely feel that. So was there any, you know, ever a time where like you had to unlearn something because it was for the betterment of who you were becoming in the space?
Yeah. This was a city year thing though. So I got to take y'all all the way back. I'm gonna let y'all know right now, the educator that I became was because of the lessons that I picked up when I wasn't the main educator. It's easy to pick up stuff when you ain't the one actually responsible for teaching kids. So one of the things that, shout out Chev, because you're going to get named a couple times in here. If you
Shout out to Chev, man. Papa Chev, what's up?
Man. Good leader, right? But I remember him telling me one day, because Hans used to, so we had a coworker named Hans, and Hans used to sit, his desk was right next to mine.
He name dropping.
His desk was right next to mine. And
We love you, Hans. Whatever he about to say. We love you.
We do. Because without you, I wouldn't have learned this lesson. I was talking about something one day. I was going off by something. I don't even know what it was. Something political. And Hans was just sitting there like this. Soaking it in. And Shell put me to the side. And he was like, hey, man, do you know that people are listening to you when you talk? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Of course people are listening. He's like, no. People are like listening to you to get things that can change the way they do things without any critical thinking. Right? They just gonna take it as the Bible. So when you say things, be mindful of what you're saying, the context that you're giving, who's in the room, different things like that. Because you 2015, y'all know what undergrad can do to folks. Well, I was fresh. Listen, anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Verbally, you trying to spar? We can get it.
Yeah.
And I had to learn, what am I trying to get, though? Because if I'm trying to get a specific outcome, and this form of whatever communication I'm choosing is just going to make me feel good, it's not a good enough reason to say things. Right? Just because so I can feel good, especially if it's at the detriment of other people. Because we didn't need Hans to be Plago. We needed Hans to be Hans.
Yeah.
Got 11 men out here. Everybody need to do their job.
Yeah.
And that was a big lesson that required me to do some introspection and to think about who has the mic in the rooms that I'm in. And that lesson actually helped the policy and the political work that I do on the side, because that's most of my work is house meetings and community meetings, listening to the people who've lived here, talk about what they need. And I wouldn't have got that lesson if it wasn't for that interaction of, the powerful voice. Bet power can be misused, right? Power can be wielded in piss poor ways. And if you have that voice, you have that power, it is your responsibility to be cognizant of the ways that you're wielding it. And I wasn't cognizant. I wasn't cognizant before.
No, that's powerful, man. Your words do have power, and oftentimes when you're just a natural leader, people are listening, like you said, without you even knowing that they're listening. As soon as you walk in the room, you don't even have to say anything, and they're already waiting for you to speak because of your stature, your posture, trying to figure out how, not how I can be this person, but what can I learn from this person? What can I take from this person and maybe implement into the spaces, and fill some voids that I may have. And so that's definitely a lesson that I had to learn as well. Because, you know, God gifts us in different ways when we're in a womb, before we even touch the womb. And people are talking about it. People use that word lightly now, influencer. No, this is a different type of influence, where you ain't gotta chase it. You just living your life, and you're influencing people. And so, like you want to be yourself, just like every day you would leave. When you left that building, you took that shirt off, you got in that Impala. And you to pull off that
and I lit that black and mild
and turn that Jeezy on. What you think, top four? Turned up.
Once it was time to turn from Mr. C to Claygo.
And that's the thing, like you can be genuine and authentic in those ways, and it's just like, okay, and there's nothing wrong with that either, right? But it's just like, okay, what parts of me when do I present certain parts of me? Because when you're multifaceted, like that's why, we're people like you and I, we're able to walk into many different rooms, form many different relationships and connections, because there is no room that you can put us in where we can't find a way to fit in if we need to fit in. You know what I'm saying? But it still be standing out at the same time.
At the same time. You right. Show you right.
Yeah. Amazing. So let's get into it, man. So your dissertation. All right, you explored, how underrepresented faculty thrive by navigating the crossfire of higher education. What parallels do you see nowadays just between, surviving institutions, and there are many of those, and surviving transitions? Whether it's, all the transitions that you've been in, a lot of transitions, a lot of change and things like that. Where do you see those, just kind of intertwined, in a sense?
It's a good question. I think my dissertation really focused on black men. And when I was doing it, I had just transitioned from the K-12 space into higher education. So a lot of the brothers that I talked to, their stories were my stories. And not even me asking leading questions, just literally asking folks, how did a qualitative study for the scholars that are listening. So I was literally just asking folks, how would you describe, was both of my research questions. How would you describe X? How would you describe Y? So I didn't put words in anybody's mouth. And one of the big things that brothers was expressing was how a lot of black men in education are in transition, right? I told you at the top of this, that wasn't my major. It was my master's degree. It's my doctorate degree. My undergraduate was in something completely different. I did not think that I would have been a good educator. Magic Johnson Central. For those that know why Magic wasn't a good coach, but Magic wanted to know why people wasn't as good at basketball as Magic Johnson. And he couldn't coach people to get there. That was what I thought about education, is that school wasn't ever hard for me. How can I help folks who it is hard for? And that required learning. So in that transition, I think a big parallel is we have to learn things. You have to learn how to do things. And this is a lesson that, outside of my dissertation, my real life has been very integral in teaching me this, because I have a toddler who does things. And
shout out to Zora.
Shout out to my girl Zora.
She run. Yeah, Queen Zora, run the house.
Listen, she is my boss. I have not had many bosses, but this is definitely a boss that I have. But she was, the other day, she said something, and Trina was like, "No, Zora, that's not how we ask for X." And I'm like, "Yes, babe, but don't get frustrated, because you got to remember, Zora's only been on this earth for less than 600 days. A little bit more than 600 days. She's 2.5, a little bit more than 600 days. I'm 32, my wife 33. Anything that we feel like is a lesson that she has to learn, we got to teach her that, because she don't know.
Yeah.
So when we transition to a new career, whether it's education, right? You went from law enforcement to education to sales, right? You got to learn stuff. So you got to be in a posture where you are willing to learn things. And for some folks, that's a little bit difficult. It's a little bit difficult not being the smartest person in the room. And I've really had to lean into, I don't know everything. And it's some stuff that I'm not good at. I'm in training right now for my current position. That first 2 weeks felt just like that. I did not know. And I was talking to my leadership coach, something else I recommend for folks in transition. Get you a coach. It makes the work a little bit easier. But he brought up, we met a couple weeks ago, and you were like, you don't like this. You're not good at this. So now I want to ask you again, how do you feel about it? And I perked up. I'm like, hey, man, this past week we had some training, and the coaches was like, hey, you got it. You did the strategy. And I'm like, you're right. I did it. I'm getting it. That feeling is amazing. Something that I wasn't good at when the workshop started that I thought I would have been.
Yeah.
But the posture of, all right, so what do I need to do to get better? What do I got to put 10,000 more hours, right? But like that's going to be the big thing in transition. That's what a lot of the brothers was telling me about it. That's why they want more development from their institutions that is catered to the skills and the experiences that they have, because all 13 brothers I spoke to want to be good at this thing that we call teaching. I didn't speak to nobody that was like, teaching ain't the thing I want to do. So when you know that this is something that you want to do, that requires skills that you don't know if you have, you got to put them 10,000 hours in. You got to practice. You got to put yourself out there. You got to go up there and teach them high school students wrong. And then come back and say, you know what? I was wrong.
Yeah.
And
loud and wrong.
Listen, often loud and wrong. At the same time, had the audacity to be loud and wrong at the same time. I dare you. But something else that came out that I think is prevalent is this feeling of being invisible as you transition, right? Because we talk a lot about, this podcast is for the former athlete, right? We got something else in the business for current folks. But for my folks that's old like us, right, that transition from this being you being an athlete to you being a former athlete, it's a leap. It's a jump. And you may not feel seen, even though it's a bunch of us out here, right, that used to be athletes. But don't let that be the loudest voice, right? Because you're never really alone. You just got to find your tribe and continue to build fellowship, because it's more of us out there. So that feeling of invisibility for both folks just transitioning careers and black male faculty was very clear, and being pigeonholed as well, right? I know you said we pride ourselves in not being able to be really put in a box, but other folks do put athletes in a box, and I think you got to break through that. You both got to break through it. You can't believe that that's all you ever are going to be, because the game stopped. We all ain't going to the league. Everybody can't be Lamar Jackson. Everybody can't be Patrick Mahomes. Everybody can't be Angel Reese, right? So you have to get in your head, not that this will never happen, but you got to be honest with yourself. If it doesn't, if I don't go to the pros, what else can I do, right? Don't give up on that dream. Have it. But you'll be doing yourself a disservice if you don't think about, well, what happens if I don't, right? Like, I'm not one of them hustle folks that's going to tell you, just put it all in there. You're going to get it. Can't promise you that.
And that's the thing. Even if you do go to those spaces, what are you doing within those spaces during that time? Even right now, if you're in college right now, or you're in the pros right now, what else are you doing to prepare yourself for when it is over? What's next? Like, start thinking about those things now. Like, look at Flage. She's killing it on the court, but she's signing deal after deal after deal in other spaces as well. She's killing it in the marketplace. And she making music at the same time. I don't know how she's doing it all, but she's being very intentional. about what she's doing. So how can you start to figure out all the other things that you're passionate about and start to be intentional about those other spaces and things like that so that you can already begin to develop the legacy that you want to create, because it is way more to life than a round ball.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of intentionality, you you train a lot of leaders, a lot of educators to operate with intentionality, as opposed to inertia. And like, where does that philosophy come from? And where did you figure out that, you were living without a playbook? And, how did you begin to design your own playbook and have something that reflects the values that you live by to this day?
So that's something I will directly attribute to education, is that the long game, right? I think when we're doing summer workouts, that was kind of the thing that's always pushing your brain, right? Because I don't know about you, I love the weight room. I hate conditioning. I don't like running. I already got to run when we're doing practice. Why am I running after the fact? But it's that long game, right? Summer workouts are making it so that when we hit the field, you're not playing up to get conditioned. You're already conditioned if you do it right. And when I was an educator, that my thinking as well is they don't have, because I taught AP literature, so I didn't have a state test, but we had that national test for my students. And I was always thinking, when we get there in the spring, what do we need to have done to make sure that you're prepared for this test? So really thinking about, when we think about intentionality, I love backwards planning. My teachers hate when I say things like that, because they're like, but I got a plan for tomorrow. And I'm like, in order to plan for tomorrow, you need to know what these kids are going to be asked in December. Because if not, what are you doing? That's why I believe in lesson plans. We talk about a playbook. That's why I believe in lesson plans. I know teachers are going to sit here and stop and be mad when I say I believe in lesson plans. This is why I believe in lesson plans. We have playbooks in sports. Coach may not call all these plays, but we got them just in case.
Just in case.
We got them just in case. And coach know, all right, this play going to work if we're at this down the distance. I know this lesson plan going to work if my students did this the last time I taught this standard. You see, y'all following me. If I have a plan, I can deviate from the plan. That's okay. But if I don't have a plan book and I'm deviating, now I'm just spinning wheels. Now I'm just working just to work, and then I'm upset when things don't go the way that I wanted them to. But I didn't do everything in my power to make sure they were going to be successful. So when we talk about intentionality, you need to know where you're trying to get to. Then you figure out, how do you get there? What are the little things? One of my favorite sayings is, how do you eat an elephant? What's the best way to eat an elephant, T?
I already know the answer, so
one bite at a time.
One bite at a time.
One bite. We just trying to eat the elephant in one go. Or you see somebody
choke.
Go and down the whole elephant, and we talk about this influencer culture. Now you feel like your throat big enough to do that. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. And that's true. And that's okay. But that's our culture now, right? When I finished my doctorate, one of my advisors gave me a book that I love, called The Culture of Slowness. Basically saying that our culture is so, we need it now, we need it fast. We miss things if we just slowed it down, right? You don't got to get that $1 million today. What's the $1 million in a couple months, couple weeks? It's still $1 million, and you still don't need that $1 million. So what you rushing it for, right? Exactly. Instead of rushing and getting 250,000, you could have got that meal, and that's what intentionality really means to me. Is, are we playing the long game? Is there a plan that we can deviate from, that we can look at and make our deviations stronger, right? Instead of just throwing stuff at the wall. And that's really what my work with teachers and leaders, getting folks thinking about, right? Specifically, folks just trying to change culture. Culture starts at the top. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. So you can't come in and try to do wholesale changes to a culture if you don't even believe in what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
right? Or you don't know the people that you're trying to influence because you haven't. Oh, don't want to get on a soapbox or a tangent, but
Yeah.
I've seen not the best leadership. When I talk to leaders, don't do this. Don't come into an organization and visit large groups of people. If you're a leader and you feel like you don't got the time to meet with everybody individually, you probably shouldn't have took that job. Probably should have took that job.
Mm.
You should be have that first 3, 4, 5 months. I'm just talking to people who work here, not just the people that write the checks, the people that work here. Because when
For
it
sure.
comes time to change culture, all right, T been here about 25 years. This is probably gonna give her some whiplash. I probably
Yeah.
want to talk to Tisha a little bit more, get some more touch points to let her know, hey, I'm about to do this. How
Yeah.
you feeling? Not what you
Exactly.
thinking, should I do it? But how you feeling?
How you feel?
Because I'm not changing it,
Yeah.
baby. But I at
Yeah.
least will hold space for you, right?
Yeah.
To feel however you want to feel. That's professionalism. Professionalism is telling you what it is and then giving you the space to crash out if you need to.
There you go. Exactly, exactly. And you've been able to coach in so many different rooms where you can carry that. So like when it comes to transformational coaching, whether it's in a boardroom, classroom, locker room, whatever it is, like what does that mean? Because like you were saying, like it's one thing to just go in and just say, okay, this is what we're doing and this is how it's going to be, but you never get any feedback from anybody that's been there forever. Like, and it's one thing to just talk to people as a whole, but how important are those one-on-one conversations, and how important is transformational coaching if you're really trying to create change, and have people evolve, whether it's like I said in education or whatever it is. How important is that?
It's very important. One of my favorite bits of statistics that I found when I was doing my research was that 70% of change initiatives fail, not due to resources, due solely based on buy-in. If them folks don't believe in what you're selling them, they're not going to buy it. Whatever grand idea you have, or wherever you feel like you are leading us and innovating in the space, if them folks don't believe it, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. And when I think about transformational leadership, I think about leadership that has the ability to influence systemic change within an individual, shift mindsets, right? That's hard to do, especially for folks who've been in spaces longer than you have. But if we're going to have real transformational leadership, you have to have buy-in. And, I hate this. You need to be a people person. Not a people pleaser and a people person are not the same thing. I have a toddler, again, tell y'all, sometimes I got to tell her no. And Zora's favorite thing right now is, that's not fair. And I go, you know what, love? It's not fair.
It's not.
It's not fair that I am telling you these things that you have to do.
Yeah.
But cavities also aren't fun, so you might want to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
No one wants a stinky baby.
Oh man.
No one wants to be around somebody that stinks, so you might want to go take a bath.
Yeah.
Right? So again, I am affirming that I hear you. This is probably not fair. We still got to do this thing. And that's the big thing that I learned from sports.
Yeah.
I didn't like them sprints. Just told you I don't like conditioning. I got my butt on that line and I did them.
Every time.
Got my butt in the weight room at 5:30 in the morning, even though I wanted to be asleep and felt like my daughter. It wasn't fair.
Yeah.
That's the type of leadership that really transforms folks. Is first off making sure that folks, I heard you and I see you. We still need to do this so we can get to where we said we wanted to go. But no, I heard you. Right? We can talk about ways that we can do this better moving forward. But this is the plan that we're gonna execute. So are you ready to execute or not? And that's really when we talk about folks being transformational, the buy-in, and then folks themselves not knowing how to motivate people, right? Folks that are bosses, that you gonna do this because I said do it, because I got the title of CEO or COO, and it's like there's a generation that like gave that clout. I need everybody to listen to know that generation long gone. These Gen Zers, these Gen Xers, these younger millennials, we ain't going for that.
Yeah.
I need more.
Got to come with it. Got to come with it. So what would you say, like, in terms of athletes nowadays, current athletes, former athletes, they are trying to find, clarity about who it is that they are, what they can contribute to this world. And a lot of times we want it or they want it like right now. They want it immediately, not understanding that the people that have found their purpose and found their calling, all of these things, like they went through a process to get there. Like what would you say to them in terms of just going through the process of finding out who you are and getting to that, that destination that you like, I don't even think it's a destination, it's definitely like, it's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
The entire time it's a journey until it's all said and done. So what are your thoughts on the process of becoming?
Slow your butt down and check out the scenery.
Mm.
Slow your butt down and look at the trees and smell the good air, right? And be in tune with your body. Because you don't want to just get to the destination and find out you didn't have the tools to maximize that opportunity. Moment of transparency in the vein of the previous episode where you shared some of your failures. So I was in a rough spot about 2021, early 2021, professionally. I was applying for things that I felt like I was qualified for. I was getting to the second and third round of interviews for director positions and being told I didn't have the experience, which always blew my mind because the experience is on the resume. You done brought me here 3 times, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. But like going through that whole rigmarole of hiring, I got fired by City Teaching Alliance in March of 2022. And I got let go by some foolish, it didn't make any sense to me. 2 weeks later, I get the call back. They wanted to bring me back as the director of instructional coaching. So I went from a site-based role to a national role after being fired. And that's where I flourished. Look at the scenery. I think one other thing that you need to be honest with yourself about. There's 2 things, and then I'm gonna wrap it up. But the first one is sometimes God will slam doors that you was trying like hell to run through. Mm-hmm. That's what that situation taught me. Because I'm sitting down there, I got one rejection. I was on with Trina, crying, crying. Yeah. I was like, why don't they want me? I was like Will in the episode of Fresh Prince with his daddy. Like, why don't they want me, man? Like, former teacher of the year, got masters, I'm in the doctoral. I'm doing all the. Why don't these people want me? Yeah, it wasn't meant for me. No, it wasn't meant for me. And you got to be okay with that. That not now doesn't mean no forever. It doesn't mean no, not right now. Sure. And it's something that you put, or a riff on something that you posted when you were doing your weekly motivational quotes. But essentially, it's you can't cheat the work. Eventually, the bill gonna come due, right? Yeah. So don't cheat the work. There are no shortcuts. You have to have 10,000 hours logged in. Yeah. Be honest with yourself. If you don't have it, that you still and then figure out where you need to get it. Right. That 10,000 hours is going to be crucial in whatever it is that you're trying to do. Yeah. You're not going to be a master at it until you got them 10,000 hours in. Yeah. So get them.
Yeah. I think I said something about wanting to be a master but having novice behavior. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Yeah. Let's. If you could go back and talk to 17-year-old Kalego, who is now Dr. Hips. What? Just being caught between raw talent, real pressure, and just that unseen purpose. What would you say?
It gets better, young brother. Senior year of high school was real rough. Senior and junior year was real rough. Many different things, familial things, neighborhood things. And, as smart as I was, as level-headed as I was, knowing where I was going to college and all these other things, it felt hopeless at a certain point, especially when I went off to play ball. And I was watching guys I played in high school, I wouldn't say better than me, but really good athletes who should have had the opportunity as well, not get the opportunity. And and I was in a rough spot my freshman year of college. Trying to talk, I almost talked myself into going back home to Avon Park because it was just hard. And I want you to know that feeling if y'all have that feeling in y'all gut, all that is your body telling you that something great is coming. And if you can just push through that discomfort, and push through not being able to see past your nose, play the long game, everything is going to work out. And I want to tell that brother at 17 that Clayco Hips, that Dr. Clayco Hips is coming. You just got to keep grinding. You got to keep trusting the process. And if you do, everything going to shake out.
Amazing. Amazing. Tell the people where to find you, man.
Oh, you can find me on LinkedIn. Clayco Hips. You can also find me on IG at the Mental Locker Room Podcast. My Substack will be linked in the description as well if you want to read some things. Because one thing about me and my wonderful co-host that I'm not taking is that y'all going to read. That's why I got a Substack. So if you somebody that reads, you're going to read, go to my Substack. I got some real good writing from a bunch of different topics, creative things, more practical stuff. You'll find that in there. And then, if you're ever in Georgetown, stop by my office and we'll chop it up.
Shout out to Georgetown. AI, where you at, baby?
Listen, I've been looking for him and Alonzo Mourning. Just be walking around campus. I ain't seen them jokers yet.
Man, he probably out there in Boston, man. Him and Shatner took over Reebok again. So, I mean, they busy. They busy. But yeah, man, you can always catch us on all social media platforms, YouTube, when this full episode releases at the Mental Locker Room Podcast. If you need any mindset coaching, business coaching as a former or current athlete, you can find me on our social media platforms at Tesh Johnson 2 or TeshJohnson.com. Catch y'all next time.
You be good people. We'll see you next week.
AC, God told me to start this podcast, and then he told me to call you. The time is now. You ready?
I got you, T. Let's do it.